Ouça os sons do Brasil.
Olá, boa tarde a todos. Está começando aqui mais um Giro ABMI. Esse é um projeto produzido pela Associação Brasileira da Música Independente que tem por objetivo trazer as informações mais atuais e gerar conexão entre os agentes do mercado fonográfico e as principais empresas que estão atuando dentro desse setor. Esse último mês de maio foi bem intenso para a gente. Estivemos na Feira de Ceará, de Fortaleza, onde nos conectamos, nos reunimos com dirigentes de diversas entidades e instituições, tanto do setor público quanto do setor privado, para discutir o desenvolvimento das empresas locais. Estivemos também na Latin Rio, em sua primeira edição, uma convenção que propôs trazer e gerar conexão e diálogo entre diversos agentes da América Latina. Estivemos também na Rio 2C, a maior feira de inovação que conecta música, criatividade, cinema, audiovisual, games em um só local. Estreamos também o projeto Noite ABMI, que traz a música ao vivo diretamente para os nossos agentes, onde a gente consegue ter ali uma saída e uma conexão direta com a música de verdade, não apenas o mundo dos negócios. Dando sequência aqui ao Giro ABMI, hoje nós temos a participação do Max Gibson, da Bandcamp, que vai fazer uma apresentação para a gente dessa plataforma, que desde a sua criação tem sido focada no desenvolvimento de artistas independentes. Para a gente começar esse dia, eu vou convidar aqui o Felipe Lerena, nosso presidente, para fazer a palavra de abertura, e também o Max.
Bom dia, boa tarde. Ladies and gentlemen, como é que estão todos? Muito contente de estar apresentando esse Giro ABMI. Eu acho que o primeiro Giro ABMI internacional, ao vivo, de São Francisco. O Max Gibson, ele é a pessoa que trabalha com os selos e artistas diretamente. Ele provavelmente vai ser o nosso ponto de contato lá no Bandcamp. Eventualmente, eu acho que vai ser muito bacana todos vocês terem uma aproximação, né? Muitos de vocês já devem usar, mas acho que ter agora um relacionamento direto com uma pessoa, a gente sempre sabe que esses serviços de autoatendimento, quando tem uma pessoa no meio, é bem mais legal. Então, a gente tem o prazer de apresentar a vocês o Max Gibson, que vai conduzir a apresentação. A Thalita vai estar traduzindo a apresentação na medida que ele for apresentando os slides. E depois a gente queria ter um feedback de vocês aí, saber o que vocês acharam, inclusive sugestões de outros giros, assuntos que vocês acham interessante. E, enfim, a gente poder estar mais próximo e a ABMI poder cada vez mais estar alinhada com as demandas do mercado, tá bom? Então, boa apresentação. Go for it, Max.
Antes
obrigado,
de passar...
gente.
Olá, obrigado. Meu nome é Max.
Nós vamos fazer... I'm sorry, Max.
Yes, hello?
I'm sorry, Max. Vou só falar para as pessoas, nós vamos fazer a apresentação em inglês e depois ela vai ficar disponível legendada para quem não acompanhar, para acompanhar a tradução completa, ok?
Eu acho que,
Max,
Thalita,
is up to you now.
I think, Max, if you want, Thalita, as he speaks each slide, if there is anything that you find important, you may highlight in Portuguese. Se você achar. Não sei, Thalita, o que você acha?
Ok.
All right, then. Good luck, Max. Go for it.
Ok.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Desculpas, mas meu português ainda não é muito bom. Então, felizmente, a equipe de ABMI está aqui para ajudar com tradução. Então, a apresentação I'll do in English. Obrigado. So greetings, everybody. How you doing? My name is Max Gibson, and I'm a West Coast artist and label ambassador for Bandcamp. I've been working at Bandcamp for the past 8 years, and today I'm really excited to share with you a couple of the high-level overviews and tips and tricks to utilize Bandcamp for artists and labels. My team, the artist and label team at Bandcamp, works directly with artists and labels to support them along their journey of releasing music and earning exposure and revenue for their work. And so today I'm really excited to share with you a high-level overview of the Bandcamp platform and how you can utilize it for success. A quick show of hands, if it's possible. How many people are familiar with Bandcamp or have used it before? Okay, good to see, good to see. Well, I'll be clicking through the slides today and happy to share more information. So as I mentioned, today I'm going to give a quick overview of what Bandcamp is. Then I'll give a quick overview of what the Bandcamp business looks like and how it functions. And then finally, I'll wrap the presentation today with 5 tips on how you can better utilize Bandcamp, some key features you can utilize, and different ways to harness the platform for your success. So Bandcamp is an online record store and music community where passionate fans discover, connect, and directly support the artists they love. To date, fans have paid artists $1.74 billion using Bandcamp, and yesterday alone bought 75,000 records. So Bandcamp is really one of the largest music marketplaces in the world. You can kind of think of it as an Etsy for music. The idea is pretty simple. You, as an artist or a label, you can upload your music and easily sell it to your fans. And you can also sell physical merch to your fans, whether it's CDs, vinyls, cassettes, or anything other of the like. Bandcamp has been in existence for the past 17 years, and throughout that time has served as one of the largest marketplaces for artists and labels to sell their music. We often think of Bandcamp as an artist-first platform, and really a lot of the mission is to forge a connection between artist and fan and make that connection as easy to facilitate as possible. In an era that is oftentimes dominated by streaming, we're proud to be able to serve artists in this way, as we're more of a download platform where Bandcamp, we've really tried to foster a community where fans can connect with the artists that they love. Now I'd like to give you guys a little bit of information about the Bandcamp audience. As of today, we're due about 100,000 new fan signups every month, which speaks to the amount of fans that are coming to Bandcamp every day to learn and discover new music. When we think about Bandcamp fans and people that use the platform, we often think of the term superfan to describe a Bandcamp user. And when we think of that, we sort of think of artists, or we think of fans that really value music as a form of art and are willing to pay for it. Sometimes one of the ways we think of this is in the differentiation between lean in fan versus lean back fan. Maybe on streaming services, you might get a lean back fan that might be a little bit more used to music consumption that is rooted in maybe renting music for a flat fee every month, or potentially using playlists as recommendations to source their music. However, on Bandcamp, we think of our fans as lean in fans, meaning they're a little bit more engaged in the music discovery process. They want to know about an artist, how their album was made, who did they make it with, what are the unique information about this album and how it came to fruition. People are coming on Bandcamp to discover new music, and we try to make it as easy as possible for them to do that. So we think of fans on Bandcamp as lean in fans. We also have a very dedicated fan base, as 90% of daily purchases are from repeat buyers. So that really speaks to the idea that fans are coming back to Bandcamp day after day, week after week, to use the platform to search for new music that they can discover. We've also recently found that 70% of Bandcamp sales come from new releases, which means that, again, fans are really interested in finding new music and discovering it. And also is a good thing to think about as an artist or a label. When you're thinking about your album campaign, it's really important to consider Bandcamp at the beginning of the album campaign, to ensure that fans that are hungry to discover new music are able to find your music there as well. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the breakdown of our business. Since we started, we've had the same deal with all artists and labels. Whether you're a label with 100 artists or you're an artist making music out of your bedroom, the deal on Bandcamp is the same. We take 15% off every transaction for digital music, and we take 10% of every transaction for physical goods. And these numbers do not change for the size of the artist in perpetuity. These payments are paid out either daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on what you want. And as I mentioned, that deal is the same for all artists and all labels on Bandcamp, no matter your size, where you're from, or any other defining factor. The other thing that makes Bandcamp special is that we feature a name your price option. So as you can see here on the page, whenever you upload a new track, merch item, or music on Bandcamp, you can set a minimum price and allow fans to pay more if they want to. This name your price model we found is foundational to the Bandcamp marketplace, and often is a very primary way that we can form a greater connection between artist and fan, and that's mutual support. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the different ways that you can utilize Bandcamp and some of the features that we have available that you can use to superpower your artists and labels on the platform. One of the initiatives that folks may know us for is our Bandcamp Friday initiative. During the pandemic, things were really up in the air, and it was hard for artists and labels to earn the regular revenue that they normally would by playing shows and that nature. And so in that time, as a company, we wanted to do something to acknowledge this fact and let people know that we still wanted to support the artists and labels that use the Bandcamp platform. And so in the year March of 2020, we decided to launch an initiative called Bandcamp Friday. And on this day, what we decided to do was waive our regular revenue share of 15% for digital goods and 10% for physical, and give that revenue share completely to the artists. So for 24 hours on every Bandcamp Friday, Bandcamp will waive our revenue share, and 100% of proceeds would go to the artists that use the platform. And while we initially thought that this initiative would support artists, what we didn't see is the cumulative effect that came from such an initiative. Every first Friday of the month that we would select a Bandcamp Friday for, we would waive our revenue share for 24 hours. And this had a huge effect on the platform as well as the Bandcamp community overall. Previous to the initiative, on a normal Bandcamp Friday, before we launched Bandcamp Fridays as its own initiative, we'd regularly do between $300,000 to $400,000 on a given Friday in revenue. However, on the first Bandcamp Friday that we launched, we actually earned $4.3 million for artists on the platform in that single day. That first Bandcamp Friday was followed up by our second Bandcamp Friday, in which we did $7.1 million in that 24-hour period. And so as you can see, it was a huge opportunity for fans to support more of the artists they love, and also was a great way for Bandcamp to support the Bandcamp community of artists and fans. With the success of those two initiatives, we continued to produce Bandcamp Fridays throughout the year up until today. And so on average, we average about 8 to 9 Bandcamp Fridays each year. And even to this day, Bandcamp Friday initiatives will earn about $2 to $4 million per day on those days. Our next Bandcamp Friday is August 7th. And so I highly recommend folks plan to share music and sell merch on that day, as it's a great day for promotion and also the day that we waive our revenue share. Across the 48 Bandcamp Fridays we've held to date, we've actually paid artists over $150 million in total. So that's something that we're really proud of, and that's something that we'll continue to commit to this year as well. Another recent feature that we've launched is an initiative called Bandcamp Clubs, which is a subscribe to own service, which allows fans to choose up to 4 different music curators to follow them and receive different types of music from these 4 different genres. The monthly subscription entails 1 album that you get selected by a curator, along with a listening party and an accompanying interview each month. And so the idea there is to provide fans with the opportunity to subscribe to own and receive a digital album each month that is selected by a curator. We have 4 different clubs that you can join for $13 a month. And these are all really diverse and often kind of show the diversity of the Bandcamp platform. Some of my favorite clubs are the Jazz-ish Jazz Club that's run by Tina Edwards, who's a UK DJ, radio host and writer. And so each month she curates a new jazz album for subscribers to listen to, as well as another club I really enjoy called Jam Supernova, which highlights the wide world of dance music on the platform and selects a new dance project to share with his subscribers every month. So these are just a couple new ways that we've added to the platform to help diversify the offerings that we provide, but also help show fans that might be on the fence how owning music can be very fruitful and also a great way to discover new music. I would definitely recommend folks check out the Bandcamp Clubs feature. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can harness Bandcamp for your own purposes and some individual tips and tricks that you can utilize to make your page stand out. What do I mean when I say tell your story? What I mean by that is on Bandcamp, think of Bandcamp as another destination for your fans, for your super fans to go to engage with an artist. And so what I mean by tell your story is to make your page yours, make it distinct, make it authentic, and make it representative of who you are as an artist. There's a couple sections on the page here, as you can see, where you can add a photo of yourself as well as a short bio. These go a really long way to help identify who you are as an artist on Bandcamp and also show that you're a real person. Sometimes there'll be artists with the same name on Bandcamp, and so adding a picture of yourself is really important to identify to your fans that this is actually my page and this is who I am. Additionally, the short bio that you can put right below there also is a great place to kind of indicate who you are as an artist and a little bit of info about yourself. This section as well is also really important and goes a long way on Bandcamp, which is the About This Album section. So every time you upload a track or an album on Bandcamp, there's a section in the back end where you can add some information about the album. We highly recommend doing this for a number of reasons. One, because it kind of speaks to the discovery element of Bandcamp. You want to provide your fans with that information that they're looking for. Who collaborated? Who did you collaborate with to make this album? How was it made? Was there a unique story behind the making of this album? All of that information is really goes a long way on Bandcamp, especially with fans, but also with our editorial team, which I'll cover in a little bit. One unique stat that we found actually is that albums on Bandcamp that have this about this album's description sell on average 20% more than albums that don't have this description. So we always recommend to add a little bit of information about your album when you're putting it up on Bandcamp. Now I just wanted to show a couple examples of Bandcamp pages that sort of speak to this distinct look and feel. So as you can see here, a couple of these pages really went a long way to make their page look distinct and showcase who they are as artists. They show that there's a unique aesthetic unison between the album, their layout, and also the visual package that the artist has in other places. And so keeping all of those things comprehensive and aligned is going to go a long way on Bandcamp to help indicate to fans, oh, this is the artist that I've seen in other places, and this now I'm on their Bandcamp page. So these are a couple of examples of pages with really strong design elements that also speak to who they are as artists and also are authentic and representative of them. So here's just a couple more examples of some really nice Bandcamp pages that you can take and use as inspiration. I'd also love to talk a little bit about the other side of Bandcamp, which is the marketplace. One side of Bandcamp is the curatorial side, and the other side is the larger scale marketplace that we have available for you to dive into. As I mentioned before, digital sales are very prominent on Bandcamp. We do about $60 million a year in digital downloads, which is a remarkable feat, I think, in the age of streaming. But we also sell a ton of physical merch on Bandcamp. Actually, the way it breaks down to date is we sell about 50% of our revenue comes from digital downloads and 50% of our revenue comes from physical merchandise. And so when you're setting up a project on Bandcamp, we highly recommend that you have a digital offering as well as a physical offering, because fans on Bandcamp are very much looking to engage and get some of that exclusive offerings that artists have to provide. Here's a short breakdown of what's selling on Bandcamp currently. And as I mentioned, again, there's that 50-50 split between physical and digital. But you can see from the graph to the side that vinyl is actually our largest physical offering, selling at about 30%, 29-30% of our, making up the 29-30% of our revenue. And that's followed by track downloads, as well as CDs, cassettes, and t-shirts. And so, as you can see here, there's a pretty strong breakdown amongst digital offerings as well as physical offerings. This image sort of shows all of the things beyond vinyl that people have sold on Bandcamp. Again, we highly recommend offering physical items that are unique and kind of further tell your story as an artist or a label. We've seen people sell everything from hot sauce to t-shirts to hoodies to the guitar picks on Bandcamp, and they've all done really well. One merch item that I like to highlight when talking to artists and labels that really shows the creativity of how far bands have gone to sort of engage and provide unique offerings to their artists was from a rock label that a couple years back sold half-used disposable cameras to their audience on Bandcamp. The idea was that while they were on tour, the band used half of the photos and then made them for sale. And so when their fans purchased these disposable cameras, they received the cameras with half of the photos already used. So when the fan finished up the camera roll and went to go get it developed, they received 12 photos from the band that were exclusive, that were unique, and were never before seen. And so I thought that was a really unique way to kind of forge that relationship between artist and fan in a unique way by providing them with this this physical keepsake that also had these unique photos from the band that the fans will be able to keep forever. So again, the more creative, the more unique you can be with your physical offerings, the farther they will go on Bandcamp. Another key piece of Bandcamp is the ability to connect with your fans directly. So we see ourselves as a D2C platform, and in doing so, we try to give you, as an artist or a label, the capabilities to really reach out and engage with the fans that want to support you. One of the ways that we do this is through the community tab in our Bandcamp app. We have two applications on Bandcamp that fans and artists can use. One is a fan-facing app where you can download your music and listen to it. But the one I want to highlight today is the artist app. You know, on social media, you might have a number of followers that you have on a certain platform, but the way the algorithm works, you might have to only, if you have 10,000 followers, maybe you can only reach 1,000 of them, but then the algorithm will make you pay more to reach the full amount. On Bandcamp, we don't want to do this. We think of your fans as your fans, not our fans. And we think of your data as your data, not our data. And so we try to make it as easy as possible for you to access your fans and access that data as well. And so one of the key features of our Bandcamp app is the ability to identify who is purchasing from you and where they are. And so there's a messaging segmentation that allows you to filter your audience based on location as well as amount spent. And so these are two really powerful tools because they allow you to communicate with your fans in a unique way. Say you might be on tour in a certain region and you want to offer an opportunity or a discount to fans that have paid over $50 in a region 50 miles from the next tour stop. You can use the Bandcamp app to communicate with these fans and make those offers. The messaging app is also really useful to engage with folks that have purchased from you or have followed you in the past as well. One of the really great features of Bandcamp is that for all of the emails that you collect, you can take those emails offline and remarket and reconnect with those fans in your MailChimp or in any of your offline promotional strategies. And so Bandcamp, again, is a really great way to build your audience and then communicate with them in platform and then also offline as well. Another key feature that we launched a couple years ago that's gained a lot of traction are listening parties. Listening parties are one-time player that allows artists to play their album front to back in this sort of separate and intimate listening session. And so as you can see in this dialogue, as an artist, you can select the time, you can select the date, and once you publish your listening party event, all of your fans will be notified about the engagement. And in this session, the album will play front to back, no skips, but will also allow fans to engage with each other and engage around the music in this chat box that pops up on the right. And as you can see here, it creates this really unique moment for fans to engage with each other and also engage with the music being listened to. We make the album available, as you can see on the left side there. Their album is available for purchase, and we also call out all purchases that are happening in the chat to sort of incentivize more fans to do the same. We've seen a lot of artists have a lot of success with listening parties. There's also a digital tipping function that allows fans to buy a virtual beer or a virtual pizza slice for the artist, and the artist earns the money from those tips. But we've also seen it as a really great way, again, to forge that connection between artist and fan. You can have up to 5 moderators in a listening party, and in doing so, we've seen a lot of success when artists actually enter the chat themselves and engage with the fans directly. We've seen some artists host trivia sessions, offer insight and background information about how albums were made, and really overall create a really feel-good moment between artist and fan in the listening party. Also, as a marketing strategy, listening parties have been very useful in converting some of those lean back fans into lean in fans through the listening party engagement. If you have, a number of fans on social, the listening party is a great mechanism to bring some of those fans that may be a little bit more passive into the Bandcamp ecosystem through this free event. And so we've seen a lot of artists convert a lot of fans into Bandcamp fans through the listening party, as about 40% of listening party fans are new to Bandcamp. Another key piece of the Bandcamp platform is our Bandcamp Daily, which is our editorial platform that's been running since 2016. We have 4 editors in New York that work with over 100 freelance writers around the world to cover all of the amazing music that's on Bandcamp. As you can see here, here's a feature that we did on Brazilian funk from a couple years ago. But as you can see, a lot of the music and features on Bandcamp are very vast and very eclectic. And so we've created a number of different franchises to speak to a lot of the different genres and types of music and scenes that are on Bandcamp. We have full-length features. We do an album of the day feature. We also have columns called essential releases that cover and kind of highlight our favorite sort of staff picks all along the platform. We also have monthly genre columns in ambient music, jazz, hip hop, electronic. So these are monthly columns that are highlighting kind of the best and brightest of those genres on the platform. And we also do columns called scene reports, where we'll highlight a unique scene in a certain region or a collection of artists that are doing something unique in a given space. And so these are all very unique columns, but also ones where we try to highlight and shed light on some of the unique genres and artists that are making waves on the platform. These editorial features are also really important because they drive a lot of awareness and also a lot of sales for the artists that are featured. And so one of the primary ways that you can get featured on Bandcamp is to pitch your music to the Bandcamp Daily. A couple of things to kind of prepare you for that. You can just upload your music, and please send Bandcamp links only to our editorial team. They receive, I think, over 1,000 pitches a week. And so situating your release in a way that's easily digestible for them is really important and really helpful. So we ask that you send a Bandcamp link of the project. It can be in private, it can be in draft mode, it doesn't have to be published, but just sending over that Bandcamp link is really helpful for the editorial team to get a hold of the music and listen to it. And we also recommend sending a link to the album and pitching your music about 8 to 9 weeks prior to the release date. This will ensure that the editorial team has enough time to sit with the music, listen to it, and consider it for one of their different columns. If you're pitching for album of the day, 4 to 5 weeks is an adequate amount of time as well. And as I mentioned before, we love stories on Bandcamp. And so adding some information about how your album was made and that about this album description section that I mentioned prior is also a really important element of getting featured on the platform. The more unique the story behind the music, oftentimes the better chance you'll have of getting featured on the platform. And now that you all know me, I can be your point of contact for the editorial team as well. And so any pitches that you'd like to get to the editorial team, you can send those to my email right here, maxg@bandcamp.com, and I'll send those right along to the editorial team for consideration. And so again, that's a pretty quick workflow and process to help get your music in front of the Bandcamp editorial team. And so in conclusion, I wanted to thank you all for your patience and taking the time to hear me speak in English. I'm working on my Portuguese, as I mentioned. But these are just some top tips to help utilize the Bandcamp platform for your success. As I mentioned, we are selling about 60 to 70,000 records a day on the platform. And so there is a very engaged community of fans that are eager to buy and support the artists that they love. And so I hope that this presentation gives you a little bit more insight about how you can utilize Bandcamp for your own success. The last piece that I wanted to share is that we have an artist guide that we have a link to right here. And if you click this link or use the QR code, it will take you to a translated version of our Bandcamp artist guide, which lays out a lot of the information that I shared today, but in a little bit more digestible form. And so I recommend taking a look at that, and you're welcome to translate it into the language that works for you. I want to thank you all again for the time, and I want to thank ABMI for the opportunity to speak with you today. It is a pleasure and an honor, and I thank you again for your time. Obrigado.
Thank you for the presentation, Max. Thank you, everybody that are with us since now. We have a question. Max, is about the payment. Do you have plans to accept the Brazilian money?
Yes. One great update that we can share is that we are currently working on a payment stack upgrade. Historically, Bandcamp only used PayPal for all payments. However, this year we'll be transitioning to a Stripe platform, which allows for a lot more flexibility in transactions. You can now pay via Google or Apple Pay, but I think most importantly for my Brazilian family here, we'll be now accepting Pix, which I think is the currency in Brazil, correct? So I think with the new payment stack upgrade, Pix will be available as a payment source.
And do you think it will be a different label, different style from Latin America countries?
I'm sorry, a different what?
A different style of payments, because in the exchange, if you will count in dollars, it's very expensive for us. So do you have plans to have a different model, a payments model from the Latin America countries?
For what I know right now, our deal would say the same. I think 15%, Bandcamp would take 15% of digital sales and 10% of physical sales, minus the transaction fees. I'd have to check in with the team about what the nature of those transaction fees might be for Pix, if they're different from US dollars. But in terms of Bandcamp's revenue share, that won't change.
That's another one.
Royalty transfer.
It's about the split payments from the royalties to labels. labels and to artists, do you have split payments tools?
We have the opportunity. We have the ability to direct payments either to artist or to the label, and I think we are adding more functionality with that with our next payment stack upgrade.
Okay, one more question. It's the user that set the value of the products.
Yes, yeah. So our name your price option allows you to name the price, and then you can select if you would want to allow fans to pay more than the asking price. But you set the price on all of your digital and physical goods.
Okay, I think that's all. Thank you, Max, for your time. Para quem está nos assistindo aqui e não acompanhou todo em inglês, a gente vai deixar disponível traduzido posteriormente, né, aqui no vídeo legendado. Quem quiser manter o contato com o Max, ele já deixou o e-mail dele. A gente pode deixar aqui na descrição de novo, por favor. E o conteúdo continua disponível, né? Compartilhem essas informações. A gente volta com novas edições do Giro mensalmente, então fiquem à vontade também para sugerir pautas e trazer outros assuntos. E para empresas que estão conectadas aí diretamente ao mercado fonográfico, que quiserem fazer parte como um dos players do Giro, fiquem à vontade também para mandar suas informações e tudo que tiver a respeito para a gente fazer essas conexões. Muito obrigada pela audiência de todos, and thank you again, Max.
Obrigado.
Ouça os sons do Brasil.